Okay, good evening everyone. Today is Tuesday, December 6, 2022, and this is the Select Board meeting. This hearing of the Ayer Select Board will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom and Channel 8. The public may access the proceedings by joining Zoom, meeting ID number 897-9080-0793, or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager at atm@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 100, prior to the meeting. It just seems like it gets longer. So, if I could have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, do we have any amendments to the agenda tonight?
I have none.
I do not have any.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Okay, a couple of announcements. The winter parking ban is in effect through April 15th. This annual parking ban prohibits parking any motor vehicle on any street or sidewalk in the town of Ayer between the hours of 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. The winter parking ban also prohibits parking any motor vehicle on any street or sidewalk in the town of Ayer during a snowstorm. Okay. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I would really like it if you would pay particular attention to this next announcement. The town of Ayer has some vacancies on some board and committees. Affordable Housing Committee, 1 member, 2 alternates. Capital Planning Committee, 1 member. Devon's Jurisdictional Disposition Committee, 2 Ayer residents, 2 Devon's residents. Executive By Board, 1 member. Finance Committee, 1 member. Zoning Board of Appeals, 2 alternates, and also we are looking for 1 citizen at large for the rate review. For those of you who are concerned about how much time you would need to, be with any, spend on these board and committees, it really is also up to you, but you're looking at maybe just a few hours in a month. And so we would really appreciate it if, anyone's interested, please contact us and, looking into these committees and boards. Thank you. That was a mouthful. All right. Anybody here for public input? Anybody on for public input? Okay. All right then. Robert.
Madam Chair, members of the board, through you, I'd ask Barbara Tierney to come up to the table. Members of the board, I'm respectfully requesting that the board vote to ratify the appointment of Barbara Tierney as Ayer Finance Manager, Treasurer, Tax Collector. As the board's probably aware, in Massachusetts at least, the finance manager position is often either the town accountant or could be the treasurer, tax collector. I'm putting Barbara forward for your ratification to be the finance manager effective as of November 21st. I know that Barbara's no stranger to the board, as she's been our treasurer, tax collector for about the last 5 years, and prior to that had a wealth of municipal finance experience in Townsend and in Groton. Barbara is extremely proactive, very organized and number detailed, and I know that she will do an excellent job in this new role. She'll still be the treasurer, tax collector. She and I have had several meetings on some plans for the future, and she has a good command knowledge of the town's finances, as she's been on many of the various boards, such as the buy board, as we move forward on the budget. So she's before the board for your consideration for ratification of the appointment, effective November 21st.
Been 5 years.
I know. It's gone by very, very fast.
Oh, I have no questions. I think that this is a good thing. So very glad that you've stepped up to the plate, and we appreciate it very much.
I'm very thankful to be here. I appreciate the confidence.
Oh yeah,
Thank you.
we're in good hands. We're definitely in good hands. So.
Thanks.
So, make a motion that the board approve the appointment of Barbara Tierney as the Air Finance Manager.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you again for stepping up to this.
Thank you. Of course.
Madam Chair, through you and the board, I'd ask Ms. Carrie Cooper to come up to the table. I am respectfully requesting that the board ratify the appointment to appoint Carrie Cooper as the town accountant. Again, Carrie should be no stranger to the table. She has been the assistant town accountant since 2018 here at the town of Ayer. Has, again, a wealth of knowledge specifically down into the very important details of all of the accounting and the accounts payable and so forth. Very proactive, very accurate, very organized. Prior to joining us in 2018, she had worked for the Lunenburg Public School System in accounting for about 8 years. So again, I think that Carrie has been an asset to the town's finance department, and I know that she will be very successful in this new role as the town accountant.
2018. Wow.
Seems like a lifetime ago.
Goes by really fast.
Especially when there's 2 years where nobody saw each other. It's like a vacuum. So
No questions?
No questions.
I have none. Appreciate you stepping up.
Thank you. It's
This
great
is
to be
nice.
here.
This is great. This works out so well for the town too, because you already know what's going on, and you're just stepping up to take up for more responsibility and everything. So this
Well,
is
it's
awesome.
great to be here. So, thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
I'll make a motion to appoint Carrie Cooper as the town accountant for the town of Ayer.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay. All right, Chief Johnson.
Yeah, that chair's still watching. I don't know. I'll just-
Yes.
There's something wrong with that chair?
No, I was just making sure there wasn't.
Oh.
I'll just get the nice chair.
Well, I just take the extra ones out of the way before the meeting, that's all.
Good evening. Thanks for having us. As we spoke a couple months ago, the board had given me a couple questions to answer, and I also had told the board we were going to take a look at our ambulance rates. So the first thing I would like to go over with you is our ALS rates. So we took a look at the ALS rates first. Come to find out, when it comes to formulas with the ambulance, there are no formulas. It's kind of arbitrary on how they come up with the formulas. So one of our paramedics went ahead and took our most serious call, what the equipment we would use, and come up with a number. So we started off with that, and then I was able to meet with the other fire chiefs that have ALS services about a month ago, and they were all in the process of, from talking to me, that they were going to move their rates too. So we were able to come up collectively with a rate that probably works for all of us, so it was even amongst us. So we're going to go from $275, which is the ALS intercept rate, up to $350 as of January 1st. So it'll be a $75 increase that will be coming up. We just have to finish the documents already go. I just got to get signatures, because all we do is we amend the contract from 2015, that section, and we have the parties that are involved, myself and ambulance directors or fire chiefs accordingly. So that'll increase that, and I think that just goes along with the way it's been lately. As fuel costs go up, supply costs goes up, and and that's the increases. Keep up with that pace. Did you have any questions on that part?
No?
No.
Very straightforward.
Anything to
Sounds
add,
good.
Jeremy? Yeah. And it was good to get together with the chiefs, I think, because everyone was talking about a rate increase. So this way we kind of stay the same too. And that can be looked at any given time to go ahead and move those rates along. But along with that rate, as we were looking at this too, just for an FYI, so since I became chief a couple years ago, our billing rate, which, you know, the money we get in from Coastal, our billing company, that was $444,374. And then last year, I think the deputy's done an excellent job. So as mentioned in the last meeting, 70% of our runs, or just about 70%, are Medicare. The important part for Medicare is paperwork. And if you're on Medicare, you're on the elderly side. So what Jeremy's done is, or the deputy has done a good job of making sure when we have patient contact, we facilitate that paperwork, then the billing company is not chasing that money down the road. You know, people move, elderly people aren't sure what to do with that paperwork. So I think in the second year, the increase, it's increased, well, of course, we've done more runs, but in the second year, we took in $539,355. And year to date so far, we've just shy of $230,000. So we're on pace to continue, you know, intake of like over $500,000 on the ambulance. It's gotten busier for sure, and then the increase will increase a little bit more, and we hope to continue that constant revenue where we're not chasing down people, or potentially here after 3 years we write that off. So the revenue it calls an increase, but the revenue has also. That's it on the ALS stuff. Any questions on the rates? Like I said, we've had good luck with Coastal. We just continue to use them, and they're real helpful for us in getting those. The next approach would be after the first of the year, we'll go ahead and take a look at the ambulance rates, which are the transport rates, and we'll come back and tell you how we're going to move forward with them. Like I said, it's no formula. I reached out to another chief. He's raising the rates, and he had a formula. Well, how'd you get that? He goes, I don't know, it's just what somebody told me, you know. So it's really arbitrary when it comes to formulas in the rates. Good.
Do you need a motion on that?
I don't know. Do I need a motion, Robert, or just like a support thing? I'd take one just in case, but
Through the chair, as the strong chief, you can set the rates.
Okay.
If you would like the board to ratify that, they could, but it's not required.
yeah, I'll leave it up to you folks then.
I have no problem making a motion to support the ALS rate increase from $275 to $350 effective January 1st, 2023.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye.
The second item I had was, as we talked about mutual aid a couple months ago, Selectman Hood had asked a couple questions. They were also on the minutes of the meeting, so I went back to make sure I had the answers for those. And one of them, as you had said, are there any funds out there like regional stuff? So it was twofold. I checked with our chief representative local in our district, which is 13 towns. I spoke with him, and he is also a paramedic, so he understood where we were coming from, you know, where your question was coming from. I also was able to speak to the fire chief, who is represents the EMS side of the Fire Chiefs Association, who's the chief out in Western Mass. And once again, he understood where we were coming from. The short answer is no, they don't have any regional funds. But one of them did say that, as we know, the election was coming up when I spoke to him, say, a month or 6 weeks ago. You'll have to wait and see how the new governor plays out, whether anything moves. So currently, right now, the Office of OEMS, Office of Emergency Medical Services, under the DPH, Department of Public Health. They've tried for many years to get on the Department of Fire Services. Whether that will move with a new governor or not, they're not sure about that. And his thought is, if that were to be, could there be some movement in what our reasoning is on maybe ALS and stuff being on the fire side? He's not sure, but I guess we have to just wait and see if anything moves on that end.
Okay. I appreciate the call.
Yeah, no, but yeah, like I said, and I'll certainly be happy to keep the board up to date on that part. I think secondly, it doesn't slow down. The other part of that was, I had a note here about that we had more, I guess I'd call them authorizations to the revolving account, the enterprise fund. which we went back and looked. So we've had authorizations, so my experience was we didn't need anything last year, but before the town accountant left, Ms. Gabri had said to me we might be short in the enterprise fund come June. So if you remember, at the beginning of the town meeting, we had to have a special town meeting to authorize $20,000. And we went back and looked, and I met with the accountant today, and we had an authorization, but it was never moved because we ended up getting some additional funding from grant programs on Medicare. So that been, and we went back 6 or 8 years and couldn't find any additional funding, only what's authorized at town meeting. So I wanted to clarify that to make sure, and that might end up, unless you have something else, Jeremy, that I might have missed.
No, that's all I can remember is we had authorized it a few
Yeah.
times at town meeting, just in case we ran short, we never actually needed the transfers.
And if I may, to sum things up, and you can Google anything where many cities and towns are in the same position. And one great article was the EMT shortage coupled with fewer ambulances crippling the EMS system, which we know that around the state and across the country. And I thought it was an ironic number. The number of ambulances statewide are down as much as 30% compared to 2 years ago. So what that does for us, and this goes from Amesbury to Northampton, to Beverly, everyone's talking about the same thing. And if we look at that, it's just a ripple effect. When I stated to you folks last time I was here, we used to have MedStar as a private ambulance out of the hospital, and since 2017 they've kind of gone away. Well, of course, they're affected by that 30% shortage. So what that does is they used to facilitate like the assisted living facilities, the prisons, moving people from hospital that need emergency transports from one hospital to get the care they need in another one. So when they're not available anymore, so what that does is put the weight on the shoulders of the municipalities to take up the slack that they used to do. And as we know, we have prisons, that are close to us, and they do take a lot, which used to be all done by private ambulance, is done by the municipalities. And of course, as we get back to that ALS Intercept, if they're needing advanced life support, that's when they call us. So it's a statewide thing along with the country. I don't see an ending in it anytime soon. We continue to take care of the calls we can, and you're looking at the chief and the deputy. That weighs on us as much as it does you folks and the town residents. When 2 ambulances are gone, we know that. You know what I mean? And certainly, I've gone back for calls when we get a third call. But I would end with, we will keep the board up to date if anything comes through. We hear the residents, and if there's something else to acknowledge or we can't handle it, we'd be happy to report back to you. Something to add?
And what the chief's talking about, the shortage, it also impacts the hospitals in this area. So it was beginning of November, we received an email from the medical control doctor at Emerson. He was urging us to, whenever possible, deliver these patients directly to Boston hospitals, which is not what I want to hear, but that's the only way they can facilitate getting them there. We had delivered a patient to them because that was the closest appropriate facility, and that patient then needed to be transferred to Boston, and it took them a lot longer than it normally would have. And he wrote a lengthy email to not just us but the entire region, urging that this is the time that we all need to start using mutual aid more. Like, that is completely contradicting everything everybody wants to hear, but it's just the reality of where they're living. They can't find beds in Boston or in the larger facilities because there's not enough nursing staff to take them in. So it's just another, it's just compounding that issue of no ambulances. Well, the hospitals don't have the capacity either. So we're just running into it on both sides. Thankfully at Neshoba, we don't typically run into, they call it holding the wall. You can go to UMass and stand in the hallway for an hour. We find you a bed, find a room that has a nurse available. Thankfully, Stewart hasn't had that issue yet. I know Leominster gets there sometimes, Hope and Worcester a lot. But that's what's coming, slowly but surely, unless we can, see an increase in the capacity in the area.
Yeah, we recently, I called one of the guys, I'm like, where are you guys at? And for 40 minutes over the weekend, they were at UMass waiting for a bed. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's just the hospital side of it, but we hear everybody. I'm not sure what the short-term solution is we keep going to the calls. Long-term, like if anything comes up, we'll be sure to keep everyone in that loop. So, any follow-up questions?
No, thank you for coming
No,
back and
like I
providing
said,
information. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
you know where to find us if anybody comes up with anything, and we'll keep you informed. But thanks,
All right.
thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thanks, Chief. Thanks, Deputy.
All right, coming back to Robert.
Madam Chair, members of the board, good evening. You have in your packet the warrants that were reviewed and approved since the board last met. In terms of the administrative update, I just wanted to highlight a few items before I get to my action items this evening. So first, I want to stress on the finance team. I am confident, as is Ms. Antonos, we have a good team in place, just to pick up from the two appointments that you ratified. So we have Barbara Tierney as finance manager, treasurer, tax collector, Carrie Cooper as the town accountant, Amanda Lewis as benefits and payroll, and Linda McQuaid as the assessor. Is a good team. It's a new team, which I think is a positive thing in the sense that there'll be a new look at a lot of things, which has already started. Ms. Antonellis and I meet with all of them weekly as sort of an internal finance team, and I'm looking forward to the budget process into the year ahead and to working with all of them. They are extremely proactive, extremely organized, and that's what we need, and also gatekeepers of the town's finances, which is key. So I just wanted to re-stress that the town has a good finance team in place as we prepare to enter 2023. I also just want to highlight in the building department, the assistant zoning and code enforcement officer, Mr. Mike Wallace, who some of you may know as he is from town, has hit the ground running with the building commissioner. Ms. Antonello's put together a file in the select board's office of all of the code enforcement and zoning enforcement issues that he has started. And we're getting letters, it seems, almost daily coming down. And his approach is a proactive approach, but also a reasonable approach to work with people to get these things into compliance. And he's really focusing on a lot of these little things that stick out that we've heard loud and clear from residents, from the board, and so forth. So that seems to be working out well.
And Robert, if I could, he's now going to be submitting a monthly report.
Okay.
So those are all compiled on the website, and I'll send them to you monthly. But you can kind of just get a snapshot of what he's been up to in getting the properties into compliance.
So, also just a quick personnel update for the board. Frustratingly, on the social worker position, we have not been able to secure a candidate yet. We specifically targeted the advertising for this position on various professional and social work platforms and council on aging platforms. So we will continue our efforts there. We had hoped by now to have somebody in place, so we will continue those efforts. On the IT front, we are almost completed sort of retooling that position the first time that it went out. We got some candidates, but we need to sort of retool that. Cindy has been, for about another month, has been doing some interim work for us, but one of the main goals for me is to get IT sort of nailed down for January. The administrative support position for the town manager select board's office, that we hope to get to. It's just that one is in the wings, as they say. Also, at the Council on Aging, the outreach coordinator, there's a vacancy for that position. Unfortunately, we didn't get. We thought we had a candidate, and it didn't come through. So I know we're trying to get that position, outreach coordinator for the COA field, to help down there. And then the planning and conservation admin support is also open. So we will continue our efforts. In 20 years, and I've talked to colleagues of mine, I've never seen the municipal job seeing like it is right now. It's just, usually you get multiple applicants on these positions, and it's just not coming to fruition. So we will keep at it. But I just wanted to give the board an update. If you know anybody that would be qualified or interested in these positions, do send them our way. The howitzer was removed from the town hall property on Sunday morning and has been sent to be restored. So just wanted to point that out if folks are wondering where it went. I believe there is a video on the website of it being moved, so that will keep you updated on that. I understand from the facilities director, they plan to begin the construction of the base this week, so there should be further development out there. As Selectman Livingston knows, as she's the vice chair of the Cable Advisory Committee, the Cable Advisory Committee just will be coming before you on December 20th to give a brief update on the cable contract and the plan for that. Looking to have a public hearing, which is required by law, on January 11th.
No.
No.
18th.
18th. You're right.
The 11th
18th.
is
I
the
should.
Devon's Jurisdiction
Yep.
Framework Committee.
So January 18th, which is a Wednesday, a public hearing on that. They'll have more information for everybody on the 20th. As Selectman Livingston mentioned, January 11th, Ayer is hosting, as Selectman Livingston mentioned previous meeting, we're hosting the framework group here. It'll be an open meeting on January 11th. And as Selectman Livingston had brought up at a previous meeting there, we're going to start to rotate those meetings. Hopefully, maybe the change of venue will help. So it's going to be a busy time. That sort of a brief administrative update. I don't know if there's any questions from members of the board. If not, I'll get right into the action items. Is just a few. Two appointments this evening. I'm respectfully recommending that the Select Board vote to appoint Christopher R. Hillman of Ayer as a citizen representative to the Capital Planning Committee for a term to expire on June 30th of 2024. Mr. Hillman sent email of intent to myself as well as to the board that he would like to serve on that committee. He'd be no stranger to capital planning.
Do we know him?
I think you may know him, so that would be the first.
I'd like to see his qualifications.
Yeah,
Okay.
is he qualified for this? I mean,
That's why I bring the appointment before the board for your consideration.
he's watching going,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
I'll make a motion to appoint Christopher Hillman to the Capital Planning Committee for a term expiring on June 30th, 2024.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome back, Chris.
Thank you. And then I'm respectfully recommending that the Select Board vote to appoint Ms. Deborah Pelly of Ayer to the Ayer Cultural Council for a term to expire on June 30th, 2025.
No question.
I have no questions.
for you.
No?
Okay, I'll make a motion that the Ayer Select Board vote to appoint Deborah Pelly to the Ayer Cultural Council for a term that expires June 30th, 2025.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair says aye.
Thank you. And then I'm going to turn it over through the chair to the Assistant Town Manager for the third item. And I just want to thank Ms. Antonellis every year for all of her work on putting together the license renewals. And you have a detailed memo in your packet from her on the approval of the 2023 license renewals. And I just want to add, as in every year, upon your approval, we don't issue any license unless everything is either paid or they're in a payment plan with the town treasurer. So just to add that reminder, and I'll turn it over to Carly for this item.
Give me that package.
Oh, the memo, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is our standard memo that, I put in your packet every year. The list has changed some have come off non-renewed from last year, but pretty much the same. And so what we ask, as in years past, is to approve the list in the memo. And as Robert said, we won't release anything until they're checked off with the tax collector's office, the DPW, fire inspections have to be done at any place where alcohol is being served on premise. Bridget also weighs in for their food service permit, so it's kind of like 4 different folks have to give the final okay before we issue. And anyone with a on-site liquor license also needs to prove their liquor liability insurance. So that's it.
I just want to say, Carly, once again, you have made this such a smooth process over the years.
Thank you.
So it's greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Yes.
Do you have any questions or concerns?
None.
Do we want to do it as different classes or all?
We traditionally do it as a blanket.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the license renewals for 2023 as presented in the packet.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair says aye. All right.
Thanks, Carly.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And Madam Chair, number 4, just briefly, an FY24 budget update, and this is often based on this time of year, becomes sort of a standing item under my report. We are obviously we've been underway on the process for about the last couple months, as many of you know, because you're keenly involved with that. The rate review committee has completed this year's on the transfer station. They have a meeting next week where we'll be beginning the water and sewer rates. Capital planning is well underway. Selectman Hood, the chair there. I put in the packet, the budget directive went out on December 1st to all departments. All departments have till December 30th to turn in their initial submissions. Myself, the assistant town manager and the finance manager will be meeting with all of the departments to review their initial submissions and take a real close look at any opportunities, as always, for either efficiencies or reductions that would not impact services. So we're going to do a full look at the budget, as we always do. Once December 30th comes, and Ms. Antonellis also put in the packet the budget calendar, a couple weeks after that, at the latest, we will transmit the draft budget to the select board into the finance committee, and we'll start that whole process. I did put in the memo, as we've done the last couple of years, the 2 forums, the one in January and the one in March. And I'm open to any ideas or suggestions that the board has on those. I think the January one is a little more straightforward in the sense it makes sense to have an initial public meeting that we present the budget and so forth. The March one, which is a follow-up, we're interested on ideas that you may have, also interested in ideas from the public as to what do people want to know, what are people interested in, not interested in, so forth. So give that some thought. We're open to suggestions on that front there. Lastly, if you go to the town's website, ayer.ma.us/budget, it will take you to the FY24 landing page, which has begun to be populated. For example, the budget directives there, all the capital stuff to date is there. So the FY24 budget page is a great resource for the public for all of the documents. If there's something that you don't see there, let us know. If something didn't get posted right away, let us know. And if folks want a hard copy of anything or can't find anything, it's also, everything's available at the select board's office during normal hours of operation. So we're off to the races, as they say. We look forward to FY24. So just a brief update. I don't know if there's any questions on the budget.
Well, not necessarily on the budget, it's more of an information. Is the finance committee going to be meeting in December so that they can maybe have a meeting prior to having a meeting with us? I mean, do we know what the schedule is? I know that's becoming kind of a concern.
Yes, so I'll speak from my vantage point, and I'm not in any way throwing rocks at anyone. The FinCom had an initial meeting earlier in the fall, as you know. Myself, Selectman Hood, the moderator, others were there. It was a very positive meeting, a lot of energy. They went to have a second meeting. They didn't have a quorum, unfortunately. They have not rescheduled since then. I did reach out to them when I sent the packet, again, and they have all of this material stressing the importance of meetings. So I'm hopeful that the FinCom will get, not only meet, but get on a regular meeting schedule, because one of the things is, as you know, and Scott knows from your subcommittees, is they also need to select their representatives to capital, rate, and others. So
Right.
I've used the word concern now that we're
Well, I'm
coming
also
in-
concerned because if we're gonna have a joint meeting in January,
Right.
and they haven't had like a preliminary meeting,
Mhm.
are they gonna feel blindsided or anything in January with the combined meeting?
Yeah.
So,
I will reach out to them again, and I also know that the town moderator is committed
Oh,
to the
absolutely.
FinCom and to having a successful FinCom. So we will follow up and hopefully have a detailed update for the 20th. But good point. Anything else on the budget for now? So the last item I put on, just wanted to discuss briefly, is the January 2023 meeting schedule. So of course the board's regular meetings are the 1st and 3rd of every month. And what happens, it's happened a few years, last year was one of them too. With respect to January, the meeting would be on
January 3rd.
January 3rd, and because New Year's is on a Sunday, the recognized holiday is January 2nd. Also, the week before is a short week because of Christmas and so forth, and generally, the departments, there are not a lot of items that require select board attention. So I was going to suggest, as it did last year, that the board consider selecting a different date for that first meeting in January. And it doesn't have to necessarily be a decision tonight, but wanted to get the ball rolling on that, because I think the 3rd.
well, so it looks like last year we didn't have that first meeting,
Okay.
or rather earlier this year.
Yeah.
Right, so we don't have to make a decision tonight, but I would say we probably should at least leave that night open as far as our schedules,
Mhm.
in case something comes up. But I'm concerned about, I do have a question about, that's the night we're calling of the annual town election. So according to this, the budget thing,
Mhm.
so does that impact if we were to,
Mhm.
try to move a night or something?
Madam Chair, my understanding from the town clerk is no, you're gonna be doing it well in advance. I think it's 45 days, I wanna say off the top of my head, to call it, so you'd still be within that time frame to call the election. Also, just to put it out there, in January of '23, there's 5 Tuesdays. So if we met the 17th and we could hold the 31st open if we needed to meet, because no one else will be meeting on the 5th Tuesday of a month. So that's just something, food for thought.
Mhm.
I don't know if we'd necessarily need to do it on the 30th.
31st.
Or the 31st, because our next scheduled meeting would be January 17th, and then we'd be going into, February, so, not saying that nothing wouldn't come up, so.
Oh, I meant in addition, if we needed it, that's just an
Oh,
option
okay.
for a night,
Yeah.
but definitely
Okay.
meet the 17th.
So, but I mean, yeah, so, whatever.
Yeah, I'm fine just planning on meeting on the 17th, even if it's a longer meeting.
Right.
To make up for not meeting on the 3rd, and then the 31st if needed.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's helpful. We'll plan that way. And the board has always been, you have always been great. If we need to meet an emergency matter or time sensitive, you've always been
Yeah.
willing to meet. But I just think the 3rd is, I think we'll do everybody a favor.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it'll be the holidays
Okay.
and not much will be coming up,
All right.
so. Hopefully
And
no emergencies.
so we'll plan for the 17th. That concludes my report, unless there's any other questions from the board. Thank you for your time and support.
All right, any new business or member questions?
Nothing for me?
For me.
Okay, I got nothing. All right, so now for the approval of meeting minutes, November 15th.
I had no changes,
I
right?
had no changes either.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that the board approve the November 15th select board meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll say aye because I didn't notice any grammatical errors. Okay, meeting minutes are approved. Okay, so with that, we need to we will be moving into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Exemption Number 2, Non-Union Personnel Negotiations, the Town Accountant Personal Services Contract, and the Finance Manager Contract Amendment. So, anybody want to finish that motion that I started?
So moved. Or we were looking for a second.
Well, we're
And we
gonna
will
adjourn.
adjourn.
Yeah, so.
And we'll adjourn.
Got a little tongue tied. We're going to adjourn. We come back into open session. Still so moved?
So moved.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay. And all in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Good night, everybody. We're adjourned and we've gone into executive session.